Off the coast of New Zealand has erupted as tourists were visiting.
Wow guys, it's like one after the other. Poof, volcano, poof, 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 earthquake, crazy, white island guys. I was just uploading, or I'm in the process of uploading a video about Campi Flegrei, the super volcano near Naples in southern Italy, the most dangerous volcano, one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world. And there's terrifying news there, so check out these videos. But let's talk about White Island. We have talked about White Island quite often in connection with what's going on in Iceland right now. You guys have written me in the comments, you have said in regards to the Blue Lagoon just not closing down ahead of time and be proactive when they know the next eruption is coming. They're always waiting for emergency evacuation. So they're evacuating when the eruption's already going on, and you can't rule out 100% guys that there will not be an eruption coming straight down into the Blue Lagoon, because the magma chamber is right underneath. And that's why you guys have compared it to White Island, where authorities just wouldn't listen to the warnings and would just bring the tourists there to White Island, and then, you know, tragedy happened. What happened in White Island? Why is this so interesting to talk about? This disaster happened not a long time ago. It happened in 2019, and White Island was actually a popular spot for tourists, and especially for volcano tourists who wanted to look at that area of White Island. And they were transported there, a lot of them. They were hauling them out to this White Island, and it can only be reached by boat. So they had to come there by boat, which is also a problem if you have to leave fast and maybe something's flowing, lava, magma is erupting, flowing into the sea, causing magma mixes with water, toxic gases. So it's not a good idea if that's your only evacuation route. But in general, volcanoes like this, you can't outrun them anyways. So White Island, guys, is a privately owned island. So it's not government owned, it's not public state land, it's a privately owned island, and there were warnings of a possible impending eruption. And they were ignored at the time. That's why these comparisons to the Blue Lagoon in Iceland. So people thought, no, we're not stopping to haul tourists there because it creates money for us. So tourists are used as a commodity, and I really, really hate that.
Group 2 can be seen in this image. See, walking along the track.
So the result of this ignorance and being careless was that 22 people lost their lives and 25 people were injured. Some seriously, they were burned by that lava, young people. It was bad, bad, bad. The eruption came all over sudden without much warning, and it was explosive, guys. Really, really explosive.
Whoa! Guys, we're going! Follow me! Come on, go!
Move, move.
Everybody go!
Move.
Follow me! Move! Come on, quick! Everybody! Go!
And there were lawsuits. And just last October, the company that owns the island, the company is owned by the owners. There's 3 separate owners that own that island, and they have been sued by the victims. And they had also issued these licenses to the travel agencies so that they were allowed to bring the tourists in, was found guilty. And there was a compensation payment of almost 8 million euros that was made. I don't think that is a lot, sadly, but that's what it is. And also, and that's interesting, the New Zealand Geological Survey institution, it's responsible for geological and nuclear sciences in New Zealand, was also found guilty of failing to provide or pass on the relevant information about the risk of an eruption to the tourists at that time, and also to helicopter pilots and boat pilots who were bringing the tourists in at that time. So they had to pay a fine as well. So, and if you look at that story, now this thing has erupted again just today. It has produced a steam eruption. The good thing is this time no tourists there. Since that fatal incident, tourists were not allowed on White Island anymore. And where is it located? It's located in the Bay of Plenty, that's what it's called, and near New Zealand. It's off the north coast of New Zealand's North Island. And there's earthquakes on a regular basis there anyways. And it has erupted phreatically the morning of May 24th in New Zealand. So what is a phreatic eruption? It's known as a steam blast eruption, and it occurs when there's water beneath the ground or beneath a crater or in a crater or on a crater is heated by a magma chamber, by lava, by hot rocks or new volcanic deposits. And then this heat will cause it to rapidly vaporize into steam, and that's what phreatic eruption means. It's a sudden conversion of water to steam, and it leads to an explosive eruption ejecting steam, water, ash, and volcanic rocks. And it's very, very, very fast, and it spreads very, very far. So this volcano has spewed up to 2 kilometers up into the air. These particles and ash has been spit out by this volcano. So this is different from magmatic eruptions. So phreatic eruptions do not involve the extrusion of magma. They are driven by the explosive expansion of steam. So this is different. Usually these eruptions don't last long. It's just one boof event, right? Very short-lived, but they are very, very violent. So the main hazard that you're facing with an eruption like this is the explosion itself, because it sends the rock and the ash flying over a very wide area. That's why I said you can't outrun those. And with that comes the release of toxic gases such as sulfur dioxide, and the sudden release of steam can also cause landslides, or it can trigger other secondary volcanic hazards. And these phreatic eruptions, they can occur with absolutely no warning, as they are triggered by the rapid heating of water, so there don't have to be any earthquakes or anything like this. This type of eruption is common in geothermal areas, and it can occur in both active and dormant volcanoes. So let's look again what has happened today there. The volcano has emitted a big cloud of steam, as I just mentioned, up to 2 kilometers up into the air. They don't have any sensors on the island, which is kind of strange. So they don't really know whether there was volcanic ash erupted as well, or just steam and particles. And it's weird, because you might think that after 2019 they would install a lot of sensors or warning systems, but maybe since basically the island is abandoned and it's not a tourist operation anymore, they did not consider it necessary. Although, you know, for science reasons, I think it would be very, very interesting to learn about this, because there are volcanoes like this in more crowded areas that could produce something like this and seriously hurt people. There was a smaller earthquake that came before the eruption. It was northwest of White Island, and it was very deep at a depth of 200 kilometers. The magnitude was 3.4, but scientists think that maybe it's not even related because it was so weak and deep that it probably hasn't triggered this eruption. So we know there's quite a few earthquakes in New Zealand. It's because there's two tectonic plates that are creating a subduction zone there. The Pacific plate is subducted underneath the Australian plate, and because of that process is responsible for White Island being there, right? It has caused volcanic eruptions and magma intrusions. That's why this island does exist. So that was just a very quick update, guys. Stay tuned. In just a few minutes, there'll be another update about Campi Flegrei, what it means for the residents, what it meant for the residents, what the authorities are doing right now, and what the biggest fear is. Check out this video. I'll put it in the end screen here probably because I'll release this. I don't know which one will be released earlier. Probably they'll be released together. Thanks, guys. Check out my playlist about Iceland. We're waiting for an eruption there as well that can happen any second and could seriously threaten Grindavik or even destroy it. So this volcano there is unpredictable right now, and scientists are scratching their heads about what's going on there. So that was a small update. There was another earthquake in Taiwan. It had the magnitude I think about 4.3, basically in the same area where we had seen the last earthquakes, but there are no reports about any consequences. The Chinese have offered help, and they said, should we send our troops in there to help you? Which is kind of weird because they have the island surrounded right now with military sort of exercises that have kind of give you the impression that they could start an invasion at any moment. So isn't it convenient to send your troops in there to help with an earthquake recovery? And once you're in there, you're like, oopsie, now change of plan. So we'll have to monitor that as well. The world is crazy, guys, and Mother Nature is also showing us that we're crazy by sending us a few things lately, from earthquakes to volcanoes and stuff like that. So stay tuned with my channel. You will be informed about all that stuff, guys. And I have a little teaser for you. There will be some new outtakes about, if you're a regular viewer, you know my guys, my three doggies, my co-hosts that co-host my videos with me. So I tried recently to have Rudy next to me. I had an elevated chair so that he could sit higher so that you could see him better. And you know, my other Westie Eddie, he doesn't really like that too much. So he managed to jump on the table, and then Rudy jumped on the table, and I had them both in front of me. You see the picture here, that's the teaser. And they produced quite the outtakes, and yeah, what can I say? That gang prevented me that day from making a video with my usual co-host Rudy. I have to still think about a way to do that. I need a bar stool or something so that Rudy can sit a little bit higher next to me. So more about that soon, and in one of my next videos. Tease, you have to watch them till the end. Please don't forward and then look at the end. And then you'll be rewarded with these outtakes. So a lot to come soon, guys. Stay safe wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the coffees you keep buying me on my buymeacoffee.com site. The link is in the description. It really helps my animals and my farm a lot. And of course, the supers here on YouTube. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It helps to make it possible to spend more and more time for this YouTube channel and cut back on my other jobs a little bit so that I can do what I'm doing here to connect with you and provide you with all these news and information. So thank you so much for that, guys. I'll see you very, very soon at Campi Flegrei. Bye-bye.